crush will bring you gold and glory.
My dear colleagues, drinking blood without me?
All right, Legend of Keepers.
Legend of Keepers.
Are you a keeper, Dalsson?
Yes. So in Legend of Keepers, you basically play as a dungeon keeper, right?
Oh.
I don't know why the game footage is this dark. It doesn't look this dark in game, but for some reason recording does that to this game.
Odd.
But in any case, you essentially are a dungeon keeper in like an almost I don't want to say Slay the Spire, but like you progress by weeks instead of by distance. But it jumps right into it. It's how you kind of create your dungeon, right? You have a set list of monsters that you can choose from and a set list of traps that you can choose from, and then it generates a monster trap room, monster room, you know. And your goal is to either kill the heroes before they reach your boss, or let them reach your boss and kill them with the boss, but the boss is the only thing that's vulnerable to damage. Like, the monsters are expendable, the boss is how you lose the game, right?
Okay.
Now,
do you get anything extra if the boss kills them?
No, nothing extra. But you do get different resources depending on how you kill them. Now you'll see that there's 2 different types of numbers under each of those enemies. That's health and morale, and you know, different monster attacks can either damage health or morale, or sometimes both. And depending on whether you defeat them by killing them or making them run away, you get either blood or tears, which can be used to upgrade different things.
Okay.
So, this kind of looks like it's like an RPG kind of thing almost, and it sort of is, but I would say it's like more of a puzzle game in this planning phase almost, because you can hover over each one of these heroes that's coming to raid your dungeon, and it'll tell you what they can do. Like that guy in the front, I know that he always does physical damage, and he can only hit the guy in the front row. And then the guy in the middle does nature damage to all 3. So based on that, I want to plan out people who are resistant to nature everywhere, but then a guy who's resistant to just physical damage in the front, you know. So
so it's like the opposite of Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah, exactly. You want to plan your monsters to defeat those heroes as fast as possible. Like, that guy in the back I know is weak to nature damage, so I'm gonna stack nature damage on him as much as I can, right? See? Easy kill. And then sometimes you'll want, instead of resistances, you want to go for what monster will kill them the fastest. But the thing is, there is no information that's obfuscated. You can pretty much see how the fight is gonna go before it starts, because you know what each hero is gonna do, where they're gonna hit, and what order they're gonna move in.
So that's kind of how it relates to Slay the Spire, basically.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But instead of whereas in Slay the Spire you can see each turn, you can, in this game you kind of just can, if you do math, you can see exactly how the encounter will play out before it finishes. Like, I know that I can survive 2 hits from this barbarian, so he gets 2 turns before I die. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So if I don't kill him so whatever amount of damage I can deal in 2 turns, that's gonna be ideal. A lot of times you can get away with killing them before the boss, but you're pretty much, the heroes are almost always gonna take out some of your monsters. Like, the first room that you put the monsters into, they're gonna die. The second room might all die. Not if you're really good.
This is like a video game version of Boss Monster.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, kind of.
That's cool.
Now, you can upgrade all of your monsters that you have individually. Like, they can level up. They don't gain experience for killing stuff. You can level them up through events. But you can level them up. They can gain new abilities. They get extra resistances, which are important, you know, because you have to, like...
I love how they're listed as employees.
Yeah, and that's the other thing.
That's
like,
funny.
It is pretty... The like, lore of the game is you're working as a, like, dungeon guard contractor. for like some dungeon guarding company that employs monsters. So they're contracting you to go and guard other people's dungeons. Like that's the idea. So yeah, you can see here's the upgrade screens, and I'm like considering all of them. You can see what they gain. Like
man, the hazard pay for these poor monsters must be a bitch.
Oh yeah, it is. Well, here's the limiting mechanic on your monsters, right? There is a necromancer. This guild that you work for provides necromancer services for free in exchange for that's part of their like union deal or something, you know. So they always get brought back, but every time they die, they lose some morale. So you have to give them weeks off in order to get their morale back up to snuff. So you can't overuse them. Okay. You can like squeeze a little extra work out of them if you really have to, but if you overwork them, they'll just quit.
That's funny.
Yeah. So
the humor in this game seems really tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah. It is. It's very tongue-in-cheek. Like a lot of the heroes are little like freaking like that guy at your D&D table.
Right.
Like the special heroes are. Now the heroes also have different combinations of traits that you have to get around. Like you really have to consider everything that they can do. Like there are points in time where I've like planned out, okay, I've put these guys in the right order. But then I'm like, oh, I missed this one ability. So this guy actually has an ability that deals a little bit of damage before the fight starts. And that means my first guy dies early, which means my second guy dies early, which means the whole thing falls apart, you know?
Right.
So you really have to pay attention. But that doesn't mean that you always have to build to counter the heroes. I'm sure that there are like monster builds that are made to synergize with each other and just be good against any kind of heroes. But
right.
Really, like, I find it easier to build towards resistances.
Especially since you have to also balance off how much the characters are, like, available.
Exactly.
Because obviously your monsters won't all be available at the same time, because different ones have to take time off at different times and stuff. So.
Exactly. So in that kind of like overworld, not overworld, but like overview screen where it was counting by the weeks, there are a bunch of different events that can happen. You can like get a trainer, which will level up your monsters. You can get a shop that you can buy magic items from. You can even upgrade the boss itself, like individually upgrade his abilities. That's where you spend the blood and tears. The blood and tears that you get for defeating heroes pretty much only get spent on your boss. There's like a lot of little upgrades. I haven't found one in this run yet, but there are little items that you can get. I think later on in this run, I actually get an item that makes it so that every time a monster dies, there is a chance that a skeleton gets summoned in its place, which is like really nice because the skeleton, I mean, it doesn't really do anything, but it becomes an extra body. So that monster dies and then its place is taken so that whatever's behind it or in front of it doesn't get hit.
So that character just ran away. Did it ran out of morale? Is that why it left?
Yeah, he ran out of morale.
Which is the purple bar. There's a lot of debuffs. Yeah, that's the purple bar. There's a lot of debuffs. Like this guy gets rid of morale and then applies a debuff that does damage over time to morale. Ooh, that's another interesting case in this one. Damage over time stuff is like, I can't tell if it's really good or really bad, right? So every time that you say you stack bleeding on somebody, one stack will deal 5 damage. But then if you have 5 stacks, it deals 25 damage and loses a stack. So the next turn it'll deal 20 damage. So they lose stacks and deal increasing damage the more stacks they have. It works out really weird. So if you stack stuff up really high, the DOTs are going to kill them really fast. And they ignore all resistances. I'm not really sure why they have different types of... They have like burn, bleed, and poison, but they ignore fire resist and physical resist and stuff anyway. So it's strange. Yeah. I'm stuck here between what I actually take. I think I try to build up like a large pool of monsters because I want to have a lot so that when they're low on morale, I can flip a bunch in. Is this game in early access or is it out?
I believe it actually just hit early access, but it's function complete. It's just probably not like content complete.
We should also mention that this game was given to us as a key, so
oh yeah, that's important.
He was provided by the developer. Crap.
Yeah,
Should've said that
usually
at
we
the
try to do that sooner, but I forgot. So
Yeah, put it in the video description.
I do that every time anyway. But
Okay. So yeah, basically your goal is to go through 52 weeks of this. Sometimes you'll have the option to like get a regular fight or a veteran fight, but that just makes the heroes a little stronger. If you think you can, and your boss does heal over time, so you can take a little. It's not like you take damage to your boss and then it's like, oops, that's permanent. No, he heals, so you have like a kind of a leeway with it.
so he heals between like
Yeah, like
rounds or
every
whatever?
week. Yeah,
Okay.
every week he'll heal a certain amount, and you can actually upgrade the amount of regen that you get there too.
So can you
So
get
see-
can you get in a situation where you get like attacked multiple times and your boss hasn't healed yet?
No, there is always a couple of weeks in between hero attacks.
Okay.
Like there's at least 3, sometimes more.
Okay.
Um,
Are those
But,
like
I
multiple
mean-
choices for events, or is it?
yeah, so at the beginning of every week, quote unquote week, you get a choice between 2 things. Like this here during a fight week, it gives you normally the choice between different groups of adventurers, but you only have a vague understanding of their power level. It doesn't tell you what types of adventurers there are. So I've chosen the veterans. Now we can see, if you compare it to the stuff that I was fighting earlier in the video, these guys are quite beefier.
Okay.
And they all have like a little extra perk on them.
These
Like,
guys are level
sometimes-
2.
Oh yeah, exactly. They're level 2. So anyway, once you get through 52 weeks worth of that, or 1 full year, I guess, and you haven't died, they're like, congratulations, you're ready for a contract upgrade, and they give you 1 more monster room in your dungeons, which you can fill with like the leftover monsters that you haven't placed in these first 2 rooms. Now, I don't know what you get after that. Maybe you get more trap rooms, maybe you get more, but like presumably every year they probably upgrade your dungeon to go bigger or something. Maybe there's only 3 years worth of it, or maybe it just goes on infinitely. I'm not sure. I haven't gotten far enough in the game to tell if there's an ending.
So what happens if your boss dies? Is it like game over? Or...
Yeah, if your boss dies, it's game over. You collect the experience that you like. There is kind of like a meta progression perk system. It doesn't seem very good, but I mean, I don't know. I haven't played with it too much, but yeah, your boss dies and you cash out all of the experience that you earned into that boss. There are currently 2 playable characters, with a 3rd one coming in early access. I have not played the 2nd character, but she seems more focused on like traps and sneaky bullshit to fuck up the adventurers, whereas this centaur guy that I'm playing is much more focused on monsters and stuff.
Okay. That sounds interesting.
Yeah. See, now I think I'm focusing on morale in this one, because that barbarian has like a shit ton of health, but kind of bad morale.
So it's in early access right now. Does it feel like feature complete and that sort of thing, or does it feel like are we waiting on content, or are they still balancing?
I think it's a full playable game. I don't think they really necessarily need to do any balancing, though I haven't sunk a substantial amount of time into it. I've played a good few hours. It doesn't ever feel imbalanced. It feels like, oops, either I fucked up or I fucked up earlier and I can't recover now, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
But there are monsters that I haven't seen, I'm pretty convinced, because there are a decent pool of monsters, but they're all kind of like, so, you know, you've got 5 different skeletons and 4 different elementals and some orcs and some goblins, you know, but like nothing too crazy. It's just like a couple of different types of guys that basically have the same abilities. So it's probably waiting on a lot of content.
Okay. So it feels good and relatively complete now, but they could always add more stuff. Is how you feel about it? Okay.
As is the nature of these games, you can always add more permutations to stuff. So.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear that it feels pretty good now, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that it's fully functional in the way it is now.
It's really good too. I like it kept me entertained for a good long time. If I had any complaints, I'd probably say that the UI could use some work, because sometimes I'll go to like put a monster into a place, but I have to click to confirm it, and I don't click to confirm it. It goes in there, and I have to click on it again, but it looks like he's there, so I advance the room, and I don't even notice because it doesn't tell you, hey, you don't have all 3 monsters, and you definitely want them. So yeah, you can like.
So like some small quality of life stuff could be better.
Yeah, and you can't like undo anything. Like I understand that from kind of from a gameplay perspective, but like, here's some of the items that I was talking about. They all have very special effects.
Okay.
This is the artifact that carries me through like most of this run, is that crystal skull that I was talking about. Revives monsters as skeletons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Extra necromancy.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah.
Extromancy. We are graveyard media after all.
Damn right.
We're not skeletons. What are you talking about?
We're not all secretly skeletons.
Skeletons.
And by secretly, I mean on film.
Skeletons on film.
Skeletons hidden within bags of flesh.
Yeah. Piloting meat robots.
Exactly. Not us.
Meat mechas.
Not me.
See, now this is a great idea for a monster. Meat mecha. It can be a mecha but made of meat, and then you put it in there, and it can slap people for physical damage and make them bleed.
Slap people with its ham hocks.
Yeah. And here's
look at that cute
another
mouse
thing.
boy.
It is a cute little mouse sorcerer. But there's another thing. So like, what that event said is that mouse boy fucked up and ruined some of my shit, right? And I could either refuse to forgive him and kill him, or just forgive him and act like it didn't happen. So if I kill him, nothing bad happens, and that sorcerer is just dead. But that sorcerer never did anything for me. He was just part of the event. And if I forgive him, nothing happens, because that sorcerer is just part of an event that never comes back. So like, arbitrary choices there.
I don't know. I think the fandom of the adventurer players might really like that mouse boy and be really upset that you killed him.
Yeah, maybe it makes
there might be a ton of fan art of that mouse boy on the other end of that stick, you know.
Yeah, understandable.
All the people playing the MMO that this game is.
Yeah. And then the adventurers would come and raid my kingdom more, or something.
Yeah, they come directly. They either come directly to kill you or stop raiding it at all. Well, I mean, it doesn't have the mouse boy anymore, so I mean, what's the point?
Yeah, I can't take screenshots of his butt anymore. What?
Darn.
Let's move on. Is there anything else you want to?
You know, I don't have a whole lot else to say. It is a pretty simple game, but like I could see myself playing this every once in a while. Like if I get bored, I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna launch that game up. You know?
Yeah.
It's good. It's replayable. It's one of those games. You know.
That sounds pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I guess that's about it then, right?
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, it looks neat.
All right, so give us a like, comment on the video, subscribe to our channel. We have a link to our Discord in the description, which we're pretty active on, and we like to chat with our fans and stuff. We have a Patreon, so if you want to support us directly, you can give us cash through that. And right now we have our Doom video on there. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. Who knows when this is going to come out? Anyway. And then Dalsson streams on Twitch regularly, so there's a link to that in our description as well. I think that's about it. So we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for joining us, and as always,
stay beautiful.